Thompson heaving one down the sideline, and he's got Castle over the top. Big side, down the sideline. Touchdown. His signature move and his signature performance. Allen, big ball one more time. 58 yards this time.
You're listening to the Bruin Bible. This is your host, Will Decker, bringing you UCLA football content all throughout the year for LA Football Network.
What is up, Bruin Bible listeners? We have another advertisement for you. We are so lucky to be sponsored by the great people at Athletic Greens. I started taking Athletic Greens specifically because I was lacking energy, lacking focus throughout the day, and needed some special pick-me-up ingredients to make things happen in my life. Athletic Greens has done just that. I've become absolutely addicted to the process. It has over 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source ingredients, probiotics, adaptogens to make your life easier by doing this during the day. I like to take it to start my mornings off. I like to do it before a workout. Makes you feel energized, focused, and just have a lot more energy throughout the day than I typically expected. Right now it's the time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every single day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/LAFB. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/LAFB to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens, a game changer when it comes to your health and your focus and your mindset. Now to the Bruin Bible. What's up, Bruin Bible listeners? This is your host, Will Decker. Wanted to bring you the sponsors for today's episode, Bet Online, where the gambling starts. I've got a bunch of good bets going on right now. I've got the Lakers making the playoffs. We've got futures bets coming around for MLB baseball. March Madness is around the corner. NBA playoffs on the horizon too. Make sure to check out all of the gambling and all of your gambling needs at Bet Online, where the gambling starts. Make sure to use promo code LAFB to get a little discount. Everything is great on Bet Online. I use it weekly for all my gambling needs. Make sure to check it out. LAFB Gambling. And now to the Bruin Bible. SEC offers, and that's pretty much the list of recruits for UCLA. This is Will Decker, your host, with Jamal Madney, who signed out. What an episode that was. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel we've got with UCLA LAFB. It's going to be a fun year. We've got a special episode coming on Saturday with one of the UCLA fans that we would love to talk to. I'll let you get to that when the episode comes out, but make sure you're tuning into all Bruin Bible stuff. Will Decker, your host. We are officially out. What is up, and welcome to the latest edition of the Bruin Bible. We got a very special guest in the house, former Butkus Award winner for your UCLA Bruins. One of my personal favorites watching the Bruins over the years 2010 through 2014, was a staple in those Jim Mora teams, was recruited by Neuheisel. My guy, Eric Kendricks in the house. What is going on, brother? It's great to have you on.
What's up? How you doing?
Dude, we're doing great over here. Just a lot to recap with your career in football. I'm going to be talking a lot about kind of your journey out in Fresno, what brought you to UCLA, what brought you to the Vikings, kind of your draft process. But upon request, when I reached out to you, you wanted to talk some cars. So I think we got to start with the cars first and foremost. And I've done my research, EK. I see what's in the garage. You have a 1995 Dodge Viper that was your grandpa's. Am I correct?
Yep. Absolutely.
You got a 93 Mustang, a Subaru, a Porsche GTS, I believe. And
GT3 RS.
GT3, bro. So I admittedly, I'm not as big into cars as some of my homies are. But when I saw the Porsche that you pulled up, I think the all-white version of the GTS is my dream car. What color you got the Porsche in, man?
I got the Porsche in it's called Chalk. So it's kind of like a light gray, but super popular the past couple of years. I think it's an amazing color. It'll look good probably forever if I keep it.
Bro, hell yeah. No, I got to see some pics of this whip, dude. But I'm going to break it down with each car. Subaru, man. Maybe not the car that I think a lot of people would like think you would be whipping around, but I've got buddies that are swearing by Subarus. They have either a hatchback or whether it's built nicely. They love the Subaru. Give me the breakdown on why you went with the STI.
For me, I was in Minnesota, so I needed a car that could handle the weather and the snow. And the Subaru all-wheel drive system is like one of the stronger ones. So I knew that, but also, that the boxer engine is like it's kind of iconic especially in the Japanese market. So I knew my buddy had one in high school. I loved it, and I always kind of wanted one. I got more comfortable driving in the snow as I lived in Minnesota, and this year, we kind of needed another car, so I found an excuse to kind of get another sports car that's practical. Has a great back seat, has excellent trunk room, has great ground clearance. So, just another excuse to get a legendary vehicle. And they stopped making the STI, so the year I have is the last year they made it.
Dude, that's ill. And like for everyone that I know that has it, they rave about how it's made. They rave about the driving off-road capabilities that a Subaru has. And my pops, he moved to Michigan. He's originally from California. He said driving out there in the snow is like no joke. Like it's really difficult to drive. So I get it, man. Trying to get those cars that match the terrain of those Minnesota roads. So we got through the Subaru. 93 Mustang. It's a clean look. And if I were to compare your car collection to just what I've seen from some other athletes, Devin Booker's comes to mind because you like those early 90s, late 80s type of cars. What made you want to go with the Mustang, my man?
I mean, these are all kind of cars that I grew up loving. And, when I was 15 and a half and I was about to get my driver's license, got my driver's license as soon as I turned 16, that was the car that I was trying to get. My parents thought it was ridiculous, and they absolutely not. But I was like looking it up, and like that's the car I wanted. And so when I got to the league, my first year, I actually began my search for them. And to find a really clean one, the kind that I wanted, it was they were starting to get expensive. I was thinking about getting like more of a shell and then building it up myself. But rather than do that, I waited a couple years, had a couple deals fall through. So thankfully I waited, found a really clean one, and then kind of resto-modded it in a sense where I kept everything that's great about the car and that's original about the car original. And then things like the brakes and the steering, I tightened up a little bit so they could kind of drive safely pretty much. So yeah, that was my dream car coming. That was my dream car coming from high school. And I'm glad that I was able to get it for sure.
Dude, it's
amazing. It's so fun to drive.
Oh, dude, it looks ridiculous. Like a 93 Mustang. It was a great year for Mustangs. I did my research on your car collections. Like I said, I had to put in the work for this interview. But how many miles do you got on that bad boy?
It's actually in kilometers. The car's from Canada, so it has around 50,000 kilometers. So I don't know what that breaks down to mileage wise, but it's pretty low mileage, very clean, black interior, black leather interior, and yeah, I mean, it's a head turner for people not like people my age, like they love it, but like I would say like 10 years older, like those people actually drove it in high school. So those like, the 40-year-olds, the,
old heads coming through.
Yeah, they're the ones that come out of the woodworks and they want to talk about the car and how they used to have one. And I love those interactions the most when I'm driving. That's why I pick kind of unique cars. It's also the last year of production for that one as well.
It's a great conversation point too, and I want to get into just kind of your association with the coffee and cars event that you did as well. But let's take it to the Dodge Viper. This seems like a special car, given it's a connection to your grandpa. I don't know if you ever played Need for Speed, like the original versions back in the day, but they had that candy apple red Dodge Viper 95. It was the same year as in the game. And that was always the car I would pick. I was always on the Dodge Viper. What makes this a special car outside of the connection with your grandpa?
Yeah, like you said, it's an iconic car. That amount of horsepower that early was like unheard of. It was the fastest car. It was like nobody was doing that. I think Carroll Shelby is the one who designed the body for it. But like you said, that candy apple red, so the car came in 3 colors, and it was red, it was yellow, and it was black, like straight up. And I think the car is special. The first version is because it's a little rough around the edges. They literally just threw it together. They wanted to go racing. Everything is in an unpractical, like inconvenient way. Kind of batteries behind the wheel, just weird, quirky things about the car. But in the same breath, it's fast. It's fast as hell. You have to respect it. It's just fun. And honestly, I don't know how many are left on the road because of how many were wrecked in the past. So I think that we'll start to see these numbers kind of be more true, and we'll get a better idea in the future. But they also stopped making the Dodge Viper as well. So I think it's important to just kind of cherish the first generation. It was my grandpa's. I'm going to keep it in the family. And I've been able to work on it myself and restore it back to really good condition.
Well, EK, man, I could say you're like your grandpa because you guys get from point A to point B in style, dog. I mean, a Viper is no joke. That's a slick car your grandpa was rolling around in. The Porsche GT, I mean, dude, this car, when I Googled it, I had always known Porsche was kind of my car. I need the all white like I was talking about. This was your dream car, apparently, from what I read. What was like the process of going in and purchasing your dream car, the research process? Like, how much effort did you put into this? Because I know you're a bigger car guy than most of us. So I want to hear what it was like for you to go in and just finally get the car of your dreams.
So I remember the first time I actually saw the GT3 RS. It was actually on my recruiting visit to UCLA. We were at Gladstone's, and I saw one in the parking lot. It was the previous version, but I remember seeing the carbon wing and like the body lines of the car and being like, whoa, like, I haven't really been a fan of Porsche, but like, let me like take a look at this. Fast forward a bunch of years later, I'm in the league now, and I'm actually able to test drive cars. I'm like thinking about what do I want. I know that cars is my passion, so I'm test driving all these vehicles. Like that's what I do for fun. I go to dealership, and I just drive everything I can, everything they let me drive, really. And I drove the previous version of the GT3 RS, and I was immediately hooked. It was the way it brakes, the way it accelerates. It's naturally aspirated. I was in love with all the sound of it, and I put it on the bucket list. I put it on the forefront of what I wanted to get when I signed that next contract. So I think it was one of the bigger purchases I had as soon as I signed.
Yeah, that's so sick. And just happy for you to get your dream car, man. Not everyone can achieve their dream car just in life, man. But a couple more questions with the cars. Like, are you like an ambassador for Bridgestone? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. They've been a great partner. I went to Bridgestone Winter Driving School, which was an excellent experience. Also taught me how to, the proper way to stop and accelerate in the snow, and how important tire grip is. So that was pretty fun, and just did a lot of cool things with them around the Super Bowl last year. So yeah, best tires around. Can't complain at all. I got them on all my vehicles. They do very well.
Yeah, and that's just like that's so cool for someone like in your shoes, because you probably get approached about a lot of stuff. But when someone comes with a car angle, you're like, dude, let's talk. Like, this sounds like a great thing. It was probably just they reached out and you like responded probably within like 5 minutes. Was it that simple to join?
No, actually it wasn't. So I had actually I knew that I wanted to partner with the tire company, and the way it happened was very organic. I was introduced to them, but I had been having this idea in my head, and it only makes sense for what I love, my passion on and off the field. But in the same breath, I know that Bridgestone is very philanthropic, and I know that they care about the community and things like that. And one of my ideas that I had was the fact that, me growing up, I remember when I got to college, one of my first like off campus checks actually went to my mother's tires. I had to buy her new tires because they were bald. And I know the importance of, tire safety when you're on the road. So fast forward now into the NFL this past year, I was able to, me and Bridgestone partnered together, and we were able to give 8 sets of tires away to people who may need them, and especially in Minnesota. That tire grip is everything when it's snowing outside. So that was pretty cool, full circle moment for me. I kind of put it on my list of things that I wanted to do while I was in the NFL, and fortunately, the organic relationship with Bridgestone came up, and we were able to get that done. So shout out to them.
Shout out to Bridgestone is right. And I just got to ask one more car question. Dude, so I'm going to give you a hypothetical here. You can add 2 cars to your garage in the next 2 to 3 years. What are those cars and why? Because you're already rolling with a nice extensive list, but you can add 2 hypothetical cars to your list. I think you're going to do it anyways, given that you're the car guy that we know you are. Give me those 2 cars, man, because I feel like I'm learning a lot through you talking about your passion about cars.
Yeah, with no price or anything in mind, I would say a Ferrari 458 Speciale.
What color on that?
I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. I think it's got to come to me, but I think it's just a great car. Everybody who I knew at Ferrari when I did a drive at Road Atlanta a few years back, they were just saying how perfect the car is, because it's kind of like still raw and still visceral as far as the driving experience, but also modern enough to be safe and having to have a really great drive. So I think that's a great car. And another car that I would pick is like obviously an old school Porsche, the 959. I think, I don't know, I didn't really like it at first, but I think the 959 is really growing on me. It's a beautiful car.
Dude, it's the best, man. Do you ever watch comedians in cars getting coffee at all?
I've seen a few episodes for sure.
Yeah, Jerry's on his shit, man. Like, he gets like the nicest whips rolling through there. So Jerry, with the bankroll he's got, I mean, I just respect the craft, man. That guy's got some whips.
This last weekend, I was driving and happened to be driving right behind Jay Leno's McClure.
Oh, another guy,
yeah. So it was pretty cool. I was waiting. I was kind of driving around. We kind of went the same way to get home for me, but I was kind of driving behind him. Like, man, if he stops, I'm definitely gonna stop and talk about cars like with him. But he ended up going one way. I ended up going the other way. But it was pretty cool.
Bro, I bet if you just like stopped him just because your knowledge of cars, you guys could have like a 20-minute conversation. One of my dreams would be to tour his like car. I think he has like multiple garages just filled with cars and like warehouses, like that type of size. So Jay Leno's a dream guy we got to get on, to talk about whips, dude. So that'd be sweet. Let's take it to some football stuff, dude. You're originally from Fresno. Your pops played at UCLA. Your brother played at Cal and played in the NFL as well. Was that kind of the main point, just the family connection to football that brought you to the game?
Definitely. I think that my brothers and my dad, I think, were the biggest influence as far as football was for me. My older brother, Chad, I remember him teaching us, how to run counters and how to run powers and, how to run stretches when we were like super young, just kind of going over the handoffs and the footwork in the backyard. And I remember going with my brother Terrence, to flag football games when we were, sixth grade, 7th grade, and we were playing with adults out there. So I think that all kind of prepared me for the next level for sure.
Yeah. How many siblings do you have?
There's 7 of us total. So shout out to all my brothers and sisters. Love y'all.
Yeah. Shout out to the Kendricks family, man. That's awesome. So pushed to football at an early age. And I was looking at kind of your background at Hoover High School out in Fresno, man. You were a 3-sport athlete. And I think it was funny just to see some of the positions, because I know you as the sideline to sideline linebacker. You were a kicker and punter on the team too. Is that correct?
Yeah, I really think that I could have, if I would have just stuck with the punting thing. My high school coach was an actual punter in college, so he was actually teaching me how to drop it and how to kick it. So I was actually pretty decent at it. Now I didn't want to do that, and I'm not gonna take any credit away from the punters who really do it, because it's obviously a serious job. But I was pretty decent.
Dude, I bet you were, man. And I don't think anyone's wondering what would it be if Eric Kendricks stuck with punting. You know what I mean? When they look at your football career now, you were a quarterback as well as a running back. Give me your type of quarterback game. Were you the traditional drop back quarterback? Were you kind of running the option? What was your game like at QB?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of running, but I have a pretty good arm, so there was some throwing. But I think it's just one of those situations where, you know, you got to get one of your better athletes at quarterback and just see what happens kind of thing. I have so much respect for quarterbacks because it was extremely hard and difficult. I think with my knowledge of the game now, if I went back and played quarterback, I would be much more successful. But I can't do that. So granted, my experience at quarterback, very difficult. And hats off to those guys who really do it because it's definitely hard.
Dude, absolutely. And then I saw your background as well. You played basketball and baseball. So what type of ball player were you on the hardwood? What type of baseball player were you?
Sorry, my dog.
Oh, you're all good, man.
Baseball was so fun to me.
Yeah.
Because our basketball team was really good, and because you know, I played football as well. I think that I never really got a full baseball like season or like, you know, a full baseball year under my belt. But it was just so much fun, and so like I want to say natural, but like I always loved baseball. Hitting the ball was so much fun to me, and just the thrill of the one-on-one battles in between the game. But I played shortstop my senior year. Before that, I played like second and third. I played a little bit of catcher, outfield. You know, so I definitely played all the positions in baseball. I wouldn't consider myself a pitcher. I was a little too wild for that. But I loved hitting. I batted number one. And man, just a feeling of a home run. I think the feeling of a home run, you really can't. Like, I've scored a touchdown before, and I think a home run is a little bit of a different feeling. It's a little bit sweeter because it's kind of just like just you know what I mean? Just you running around the bases.
Yeah, it's such a click, and then just that slow trot around the bases. It's so nice, dude.
But it just feels so flush when you hit it. Wow. So there's nothing like it for sure.
Dude, yeah. I played baseball back in the day, so that was my kind of main sports. I loved it. I was like a third baseman, was batting like fifth or sixth. Were you like 3-hole, 4-hole hitter, or were you like kind of like leadoff, given that you're pretty fast on the
No, I batted leadoff.
Yeah.
I think my entire senior year. So I loved it though. You know, let's go right away. And I get a bat a little bit more than everybody else too.
Yeah, that extra at bat is clutch, man, batting leadoff, because you get like at least one or two more than just the other guys in the team. But like, you know what I always tell people with baseball is like, you know, it can be a little bit boring watching it, but playing it is so much fun. Like it is a blast. You got all your buddies there on the team. It's just a great experience. So you played 3 sports in high school. It came time to decide for a college, man. You were looking at different places. UCLA eventually was the choice with Jerry Neuheisel. What were some of the schools you were looking at outside of UCLA? I know your brother played at Cal. And then what made Jerry Neuheisel's pitch the best one for you?
So let's back it up. I feel like I didn't get that many offers and didn't get that many choices to begin with. Fresno State was my first offer, Nevada, Washington State. Stanford came in the mix a little bit late. You know, obviously most of the Pac-12 schools, but like nobody was really offering like that. You know what I mean? So UCLA had a really good recruiting class my year, and the thing that Neuheisel was talking about was I reminded him of Donnie Edwards. He always would say I reminded him of Donnie Edwards, and it's funny because my linebacker coach of the Vikings would say something similar this past year because he coached him as well. So I think then just taking a look at my film and him just saying that I played quarterback, I played running back, I played linebacker, I punted, I kicked. He just couldn't get over that. So he just said that he had to find a space for me on the roster. My dad went to UCLA. For me, UCLA was always one of the schools I wanted to go to. UCLA, Texas, and UNC was like those are like the schools that I liked. Yeah. Didn't even get sniffed by Texas or UNC. Didn't really have it like that. But when UCLA did come knocking, I decided to just take the leap of faith and compete. Even though I was one of the lowest recruits in the class for sure.
Yeah, dude. I was in North Carolina too. The guy growing up, I played basketball. It was that light baby blue look, man.
It was the baby blue.
It was so clean, man. Like it was the coolest looking jerseys. So I obviously rode with the Tar Heels for a long time. I still got my Tar Heels like blanket in my house. that I got. Didn't go there at all either, just as a fan. So got to love them. So you went to UCLA, and I think what a lot of us remember is it was such a sweet time to be a UCLA Bruin fan. The 3 straight wins over USC. You're paired with Anthony Barr, who became your teammate with the Vikings. Do you remember the first time you met Anthony Barr, and what is your guys' relationship like today, having played together in college and now in the pros?
The first time I met him was at our official visit at UCLA. But shortly after, we had grad night where it's like all the schools in California, all the seniors, they kind of go to Disneyland. And it was a bunch of people that were committed to UCLA, and we all were hanging out at grad night, kind of like, yeah, we're the UCLA boys, like type thing. So, I feel like from then we started my first year or two at UCLA, me and him had every single class together. We both like got a similar score on the English test. So we were on all the same English classes, and we kind of just were kicking it. He was on offense at that time, and shortly he moved to defense, and the rest is Anthony Barr's amazing career as well. So we already know what he meant to the Bruins and what he's done in the league as well.
Dude, yeah. Do you have like a favorite game memory from playing at UCLA? Like one game or play that stands out more so than the others in your time as a Bruin?
Yeah, that first game that first game we beat USC in the Rose Bowl. I feel like was where Anthony had the big hit and everything like that. For me, it was such a weird weather day. It was like everything was just kind of felt weird about it. The stadium was packed. The rain was off and on. It seemed like the rain was only coming on when we were on offense and like in the worst times. It seemed like, but like it just seemed like we had to weather the storm. Like that's what it was. Like I don't know. It was a great confidence builder for our team the next few years, and it was a great like welcoming to Jim Mora's career at UCLA as well. So we were a good squad. We still have tons of people in the NFL right to this day. That whole kind of 3 or 4 years after that, and those are the guys I'm closest to this day to.
I love it, man. And you alluded to that was actually going to be my next question. Neuheisel comes in, it doesn't last long. Jim Mora comes in. What was Jim Mora like as a coach? Because I think Bruins fans, no matter how it ended, I think a lot of coaching stints unfortunately end. No coach can stay at one school forever is the way I like to put it. But we have such fond memories, like I said, of just beating up on USC. You alluded to the Barr hit, you being a part of some of those big victories. What does Coach Mora, mean to you as a player and you playing under him?
Yeah, I obviously was recruited by Neuheisel, and I love that guy. He brought me in there. He believed in me. He got me the opportunity. He knew what kind of player I was going to be. Unfortunately, I think after my first year or second year, they got rid of him. But when Jim Mora came in, it was like we were building tough guys. Like it was like no question, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. But in the same breath, like if you saw Mora in the hallway, you could talk about video games. You could talk about a girl that your girlfriend. You could talk about like anything, which I thought was amazing because he was able to separate the two. We were all able to have the same understanding of when we got to get our work in. But yeah, it was a fun time. I think that he had a bunch of people who were young and impressionable, and we bought in, and we got some wins for sure.
Dog, you guys balled out. Brett Hundley, one of the quarterbacks that I loved watching play, was so exciting. Was a little bit, more like DTR in recent years with just the dual threat ability, him making plays. Hundley was sensational, and you saw the amount of wins he was able to put and compile in his UCLA career, as well as some of the records he set when he left campus. What was it like knowing as a defense, we've got one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the Pac-12 trotting out every week?
Yeah, Hundley, man. I remember his first game. We played Rice, and this dude scored on the first play, like out the gate, running the ball. I think he just a little zone read, and he was out like 70 yards. I remember going on defense and them kind of driving the field a little bit. We give it back to the offense, and they scored like 2 plays later, the same kind of fashion. I remember being so tired that first quarter or half. We were in Houston. it was super humid, first game of the year, super sweaty, like, and our offense is scoring in like 1 or 2 plays. So we were just playing straight defense that whole half. I had to get IVs at half. I was cramping up, but you know, it was the Huntley show. You know what I mean? So I couldn't complain really.
Dude, he's a great dude. Also a baseball player back in high school. Like he was pretty nasty at that too, from what I remember.
Just a good dude. You know what I mean? Just a great guy.
Yeah, great ambassador for the University of UCLA too. And by the time you left, Eric, you had won some postseason awards in a UCLA uniform, and it was time to go to the NFL draft. How did you prepare for it? Because I think everyone kind of goes to these facilities, and as somebody that's on the outside looking in, it just seems like such a crazy process where basically for 4 or 5 straight months, you're just in a facility training. You're not doing much of anything. You're just building towards that future. What was that like, and where did you train?
Yeah, I trained in Arizona. It was a good situation. Got me dialed in, got me focused. But I think that nothing can prepare me for the NFL quite like UCLA prepared me. We went over a lot of the combine stuff and everything like that, but just the values that I had already, just the values and the repetitions I had got at UCLA, things that I naturally did and wanted to do. That's what prepared me for the league. Obviously the combine is a step in the process. You have to go through it. So the exos training and stuff like that is literally just for the combine, which is kind of wild because you do so much cramming for one event, and then it's like, oh, now we have to go back to playing football because that wasn't football. You know what I mean? That was like, preparing for the interview of football. So I think the faster I can get back to that was better. So got to the Vikings, got the playbook. Playbook was way harder. Everything was way different. But in the same breath, my process at UCLA set me up for extreme success.
Dude, I love it. And I know you're a busy man. We appreciate you coming on. We just got one more question for you. You've been a lifelong Viking since you've joined the NFL. You've played there for almost close to a decade. What does that franchise mean to you, and what makes their fans different than the average fan in the NFL?
Man, the franchise has meant a lot to me. I've grown up so much as I've been there, and all the experience I've had, the teammates that I've played with, the wins and the losses, all the memories and experiences. But I think that the thing that stands out to me most about me is the fans and is the environment which we played in. And I played outside one door. I got to experience the cold weather. Obviously I lived there 8 years, and it's rocking in there. The fans will always show up no matter what. They'll always be ready to cheer on for their Vikings. And, it was a great place to play.
Dog, that's awesome. Well, Eric Kendricks, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on the Bruin Bible. You are no longer currently a Bruin, but you are a Bruin for life, and we cheer for you, every single year, regardless if you're playing in the league or not. So, Eric, we're so thrilled you came on, man, and just really appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Take it easy.
Awesome. Have a good one, man.